A video today to go over the properties, and we have the answer key for you to grade your homework with in case you aren't here today or if you want to review it again later on. This is my third period class. Say hello. Hi. Nice job. Okay, so we did the properties worksheet yesterday. We talked about the commutative property, the associative property, and the identity property, along with we reviewed again the distributive property. Commutative property is where things move around, the numbers or the variables. The associative property have two S's, and S's are like snakes, and snakes make parentheses. In the associative property, the parentheses move around, but the numbers or variables are in the same order. A, B, C, A, B, C. The parentheses just did different groupings. And then we talked about the identity property. In addition, when you add 0 to anything keeps its identity. A stays A. When you multiply by 1, A stays A. So it keeps its identity. So let's go over the answers to yesterday's work. On the inside of the packet, I think we did these yesterday, didn't we? Quickly, these are the answers if you weren't here. Associative property of multiplication, the commutative property of addition. This is not equivalent because subtraction is not associative. This was the identity property of multiplication. This was the commutative property of multiplication. And then here we have subtraction is not associative. In the next grouping, we practiced our distributive property. And I know you kids are very good at using your arrow. You do not forget to distribute a gift to everything in the parentheses. Each number must receive a gift from the number or variable outside the parentheses. We sometimes refer to it as the grandma property. Grandma giving gifts to the kids. So, 6n plus 24, 30 plus 15r, 8s plus 40, 3 visits B, 3 visits 8, 3b plus 24, 30 plus 5b, 27 plus 9v, and on the last row the answer key is 7r plus 49, 48 plus 12v, 33 plus 11s. I know we did number 16 in class yesterday. You end up with $55. We showed two ways of getting the same answer. In part B, again, you get $93 for that one. And we couldn't figure out why anyone would take kids to a movie theater just to have candy and a soda if they weren't going to watch a movie. All right, now this is the part that you had to do last night for homework. So let's go over these. Number 17, identity property for addition. And yes, you need to have addition written there for problem number 17. Number 18, 0 plus 12 is not equivalent to 0. No, we don't want to do that. Put your packet out. In problem number 19, that's the commutative property of addition. The numbers move, they commute, they move. Number 20, 12, 18, 5, 12, 18, 5. They're in the same order. What moved? The parentheses. It's associative. Two S's like snakes that move around. Number 21, 2, 8, 2, 2, 8, 2. The numbers didn't move around, but the parentheses did. The S's in associative make the parentheses. In number 22, they are not equivalent because division is not commutative. Okay? Let's go to the next page. All right. Again, we are working on our properties. 76T, 76T. The numbers didn't move, but the parentheses moved. That is the associative property of multiplication. Number 2, 23 plus 15 and 15 plus 23. In that problem, the numbers moved. What property is that, class? Commutative, that's right, it's the commutative property. The commutative property of addition. Number 3, you should have not equivalent. Why? Subtraction is not associative. Order matters in subtraction. You can't move them around when you are subtracting. Number 4 is the identity property of multiplication. Number 5 is the commutative property. Now, I said the commutative property because x times 1 and 1 times x, they move the order. Since they moved the order, I said commutative instead of identity. Did anyone say identity property for that one? Smart kids. Number 6 is not equivalent. Division is not commutative. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 5 divided by 10 is not 2, is it? It's a half. Any questions on 1 to 6? Okay, let's go on then to problem number 7. All right, I will just do these in front of you. I think sometimes it's easier for you to do them whenever I do it in front of you. Number 7, use one or more properties to rewrite each expression as an expression that does not use parentheses. Well, I'm going to move the parentheses. That's with the associative property, and then you end up with b plus 9. You don't have any parentheses. In this one, I'm going to move the parentheses. Again, that's the associative property, and you end up with 10 plus t. So in both of these, I use the associative property in 8 and in 7. In number 9, I'm going to do the commutative property first. 9 times 5 times k. That's the commutative property. Then I'm going to do the associative property. Move the parentheses. And then you get the answer 45k. So the answer to that is 45k, or 45 times k is the answer. We're going to do the same thing in number 10. You're going to have 1 plus 2 plus h. I move them around. The commutative property of addition. Then I'm going to move the parentheses. That is the associative. That's an H. Associative. And I end up with 3 plus H. Any questions? All right. In number 11, you're going to add the 2 cheeses, 11 plus 5, and you buy some more groceries. So I'm going to write down 11 plus 5, and I'm going to use G for groceries. And I want you to write 2 equivalent expressions. Well, instead of saying 11 plus 5 plus G, I could say, what's 11 plus 5? 16 plus G. We could do that on that one. Both of those are equivalent, and you could have other things for equivalent expressions. Oh, the checking account. Mr. Kenrick made 3 deposits. Show how to use the commutative property to find the sum mentally. This is what you do, kids. A lot of times, you will do this before you even write it down. You use the properties, and you do not even realize it. Normally I would say, oh, 460 and 240. When I combine those together, that is 700. So I just used the commutative property and I moved them around. And that will equal 700 plus 185. And mentally, I could do 885. Write two equivalent expressions using the associative property that can be used to find the total number of pets. Well, 8 plus 3 in parentheses plus 2, or 8 plus 3 plus 2. There I used the associative property and I just moved my parentheses. Now in problem number 14, they tell you or give you the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism is length times width times height. It says find the volume of a rectangular prism if the length is 8, the width is 11, and the height is 10. Use the commutative property. So volume equals, if you write it down in the order that it's given, you get volume equals 8 times 11 times 10. I want to take 8 times 10. So the commutative property says you can move them around. So I just move these two around, and that's so much easier to do mentally. You will have 80 times 11, which equals 880 units cubed. Okay, everyone have the answers for that? Then yesterday, on the back side, you needed to get the answers, and I don't know if you got the answers in this class or not, but here are the answers. The commutative property of addition, I just labeled A, B, C, D, E, and F, and the commutative property of addition was displayed in this one, E. The commutative property for multiplication is right across. All right, I'll highlight the lines. The associative property of addition goes down to the last one, which we labeled it F. The associative property of multiplication, where they are multiplying. The distributive property of multiplication over addition. That means they're doing the distributive property with a plus sign, and the distributive property of multiplication over subtraction, they're using the distributive property with a subtraction sign. Okay, and then we just wanted to remember the identity property for addition is when you add 0. The identity property for multiplication is when you multiply with a 1. Okay, on this group here, list the property or properties that apply. On this one, are they equivalent? Yes. And the property is the distributive property. Are these equal? Yes. And it is the distributive property. Because 2 times 8. Oh, no. I didn't catch this with the other. Is that one? They've got this part wrong, don't they? 2 times 8 plus 2 times 5. So that one is not true. That one should be no. Because this should have been a plus and that should have been multiplying. So it's no, not the distributive property. The same thing for this one. No, it's not the distributive property because it needs to be 3 times 9 minus 3 times 4. They should have had the subtraction sign in there. This one is true. It's the commutative property. All right. So yeah, that one was sort of messed up. Pretty bad. Okay. Did not have to do number 3. Here were examples on how to do this problem. 2 times 24 plus 12. 2 times 24 is 48. 2 times 12 is 24. Or you would get 2 times 36. Here, the factor we pulled out that will divide 72 and 56 is 8. 8 times 9 is 72. 8 times 7 is 56. And you end up with 8 times 9 minus 7 is 2. In the last one, they pulled out the y, and we put that at the end, and it'll be 2 plus 3, and you end up with 2 plus 3 is 5 times y. And here we have the answers to yesterday's homework. Any questions? All right.